Welcome to the Law of Attraction Tribe podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie Keith. If you're looking to manifest a life you don't need a vacation from, then you came to the right place. I quit my 9-to-5 job to stay home with my kids while building a thriving business. Now, as a best-selling author, app creator, and 3-times podcaster, I am here to teach you how to do the same. If you want to join my inner tribe, head over to the Manifest It Now app. And now let's dive in to the podcast where I'm going to give you my best manifestation hacks and tips so that you can manifest a life full of abundance, freedom, and fulfillment. Hey guys, welcome back to the Law of Attraction Tribe podcast. Okay, so today I get in the shower and I'm all soaped up from head to toe and I see something running out of the corner of my eyes. And of course it's startling, right? Like you don't expect to see anything when you're in the shower. And I look and it's a freaking lizard, which living in Florida, we get lizards in the house. Although I have got to say we've never had them in our shower or really on the second floor at all. So don't know what happened there, but the little guy was in the shower with me and it totally startled me. And I'm full of soap and I'm like, what the hell am I going to do? So I run into my kids' bathroom and rinse off in their bathroom and collect myself. And then I go and attempt to capture this guy and release him outside. And the poor thing was so afraid. It took him 30 minutes to come out of the bucket into the yard, but he is safely in our backyard now, out of my shower. So I had to share that with you guys. It's oh my gosh. And so then of course I'm asking my friends okay, so what are lizards a sign for? Why am I seeing this thing? And one of my friends said it's, all about new beginnings because lizards shed their skin or scales or whatever it is they have. So yeah, maybe there's a new beginning around the corner. I don't know. But I thought I would just share that with you guys. And if anyone's planning on moving to Florida, just know you're gonna find lizards everywhere. So anyhow, today I want to talk about sharing your gifts with the world and how we are on the cusp of a very unique opportunity. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to look at this in a negative way and look at it as an obstacle, a scary situation. And then there's going to be other people that see the opportunity in it. And these are going to be the people most likely that have primed their mindset, that are, whether they're into manifestation or not, they're more apt to focus on achieving their goals, right? So what I'm talking about is AI. And if you are a coaching client of mine, I am obsessed with AI. I'm a little terrified of it, like we all are, because there's just literally infinite potential. But I'm choosing to look at the positive because, you think about it, I was around not when the internet was initially invented. I think that was in the 70s and the government used it. But once it was released to the public, this was in the 90s with dial-up and AOL chat rooms and all that kind of thing. I remember companies that didn't get on board with it and were really trying to fight it. And there were so many concerns with the internet. What about privacy? What about putting information out there? Blah, 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 blah. And the people that resisted it got left behind. And the businesses that chose to look at the opportunity and evolve their business to accommodate this new technology thrived. And so we saw a big shift in a lot of different industries with that regard. And I think we're going to see the same thing with AI. There's going to be a lot of people that resist it. And one of the very obvious reasons is job replacement. So Goldman Sachs put out an article that they were estimating it could be around 300 million jobs that are replaced by AI. And I absolutely think that that's going to be the case because this AI, if you've played around with it, you can see that it does all kinds of things. It can write blog articles for you, website pages, podcast notes, create photos, create videos. I mean, the sky is the limit. It can do pretty much everything. And so what they found were that a lot of the jobs that are going to be replaced are white collar jobs. And this just struck me because you hear me talk all the time about how we've been so conditioned by our schooling system. And I was in the generation that was very much conditioned to go to college so you can get a white collar job with the promise that you'll be financially set for life. Like, just go, get good grades, graduate with a bachelor's degree, and you will always have a good job with benefits and a 401k. That was the promise. And as you know, that dream, air quotes, was a freaking nightmare for me. And I realized, luckily, at a very young age, that this was not the path I wanted to take and that the whole thing was a freaking lie. So I got out of there and I created my own business based on what I am interested in, my knowledge, my skill set, right? That is where the opportunity lies with AI. Okay, so we all have these gifts inside of us. And the interesting thing is that a lot of us don't realize it. If someone were to ask you, what's your hidden gift or talent or purpose, you might say, I have no freaking idea, right? Because again, we're so conditioned to take this one path of being an employee, having that worker mindset, that we're really not given the space to cultivate and develop the things that we're truly passionate about and truly meant to do. We're told those aren't the things that pay the bills, especially if it's something creative. Well, now things are changing. And with AI, it is going to replace a lot of those jobs that we were all set up to take. And so now, in order to make a path for yourself when your job is replaced by AI, is through your uniqueness, your creativity, your personality, everything that makes you, you. Because AI is not a human, right? It doesn't have emotions. It is technology. And so I'm predicting, and what do I know, right? I'm just saying, tuning into my intuition, I am predicting that the people that view this as an opportunity to find their purpose, monetize it by sharing it with the world, are going to be the ones that accelerate and that use AI to their benefit and see the opportunity with it. The people that are afraid of it and trying to resist it are going to fall behind because, again, just like the internet, it's not going anywhere. It is not going anywhere. It is going to advance, and it's going to advance quickly. It already is advancing quickly. It's not going anywhere. And so you can be pissed about it and worried about it, or you can say, okay, I can't control the fact that it's here, but I can control how I use it, how I interact with it, and I'm going to choose to find the opportunity. Okay, so back to finding your purpose, right? This is where you're going to have a fork in the road, okay? Where, like, let's just say your job is going to be replaced, because likely it probably will, unless it's some sort of manual labor job that a robot can't do, okay? So you have another fork in the road when this happens. It could happen a month from now. It could happen 5 years from now. Who knows? You can either go and look for another job, try to get unemployment, which is the path that most will travel, right? Or you can look at it as, okay, this is an opportunity for me to do what I'm truly meant to do, to find my purpose and fulfill it here on earth. And if you can get ahead of it now and you start searching for that purpose now, then a year from now or whenever it may be, if your job is replaced, you're set up and ready to go. And so that's really what I want to get across with this episode. And you take me, for example, I didn't quit my job and then start Law of Attraction Tribe. I started Law of Attraction Tribe and I evolved and learned it and started putting myself out there long before I ever quit my job, because it takes some time to figure things out as you go. And so I would start looking at that now. And if you need help with that, I do have a free journal for finding your purpose. This was the exact method that I went through to find my purpose, which has served me very well. And so you can get that for free. I'll link it in the show notes. So start looking for that now, and then looking at, okay, how can I use this technology to monetize it, to build a business that can't be replaced by AI? And I think that there is going to be a huge market for people that want that human connection, that want to hear from a human being what their unique perspectives are. So I think that we're going to see a lot of creators expand and grow, and that will be kind of like the new thing. And you can get ahead of it now by starting to think about these things. And I think that having a podcast is a way to put it out there. I think having an app is truly the best thing you can do right now. I know I talked about this in a previous episode, but when you look at the statistics of what's happening with the app market, it's growing exponentially. Okay, so in 2022, there were 87 billion app downloads. That's supposed to reach 200 billion by 2025. That's huge. There's so much opportunity there. And when you think about it, it's not that saturated. It's kind of like what podcasting was a couple years ago before everyone during COVID had started a podcast. And you think about how AI is going to be replacing these jobs. I think there's going to be another switch, just like during COVID, where a bunch of people like have this realization and create apps or create podcasts. So you can kind of get ahead of that and be in a really good position as the market moves forward and as this app market continues to grow. And it really does set you apart because, I hear all the time, like when people start to find their purpose, this is what happens. They say, well, the market's too saturated. There's already millions of life coaches, or there's already millions of influencers. Okay. And yes, that's true. But there's only one you. And there's going to be people that like you over someone else and vice versa, right? Because you have that human element. And that is really what it's all about. It's about you authentically being you and sharing what is on your heart. I think that that is really how you fulfill your purpose, and it helps people. It helps people out there. And what's interesting is we hear so many people that look at the online business world and say things like, well, the market's too saturated. However, when do you ever hear that about jobs? It's like if you're looking to be in healthcare or a teacher or an accountant or an engineer or something like that, people are like, oh my gosh, like that's so in demand. No one's ever saying the market is saturated. Why are we doing that with the online world? Right? Because maybe because it's out of our comfort zone and we're not conditioned to believe that we can do that. But everyone has their own unique spin. And I think that having an app is definitely a way to, number one, set yourself apart, give yourself credibility, stand out, even if there is a saturated market. But number two, it helps you monetize your purpose right away. Because when you look at podcasting, when you look at online content and social media, blogs, all of these different forums, it takes time. Like you don't start a podcast and monetize it right away. You have to build an audience first, and that can take a long time. With apps, you're monetizing from day one, and you have Apple and Google that are selling it for you. I mean, they are with their search engines, they're making you searchable. And of course, we do things additionally to put it out there, but they're doing that because they get a cut of the sales. So for every sale you make, Apple and Google gets a piece of that. So it's in their best interest to promote you, to push you to the right people. Where social media, it's the opposite. They actually benefit the less people that see you, because then you're forced to pay for either ads or boosted posts so that more people see you. So there's just so many reasons to get into the app space. And whatever your purpose is, whatever lights you up, you can monetize it. And there's so many different ways to monetize it and to put it into an app, just like you could take any topic and create a podcast around it. Same thing with an app. It's just this way you can start monetizing it now so that, again, if you do end up being one of those jobs that is replaced by AI, you have a backup plan. Like, you can do this now and start saving that money. Like, think of it as a side hustle, because really it is. You put the work in up front, and then after that, it's passive income. You have a little bit of maintenance here and there, but for the most part, it's passive income. And so you can get it going, and then it's there. And you have this stream of income as jobs start becoming replaced and as you start stepping into your purpose a little bit more. So if you're in that position or not, I think it's really smart to like get your head out of the sand and just kind of look at where the world is headed, where the markets are headed, and what the potential is. And if you could switch your mindset from being afraid of it to looking at how can I best take advantage of this scenario and find the opportunities, you're going to do so well. So I hope that inspires you to look at things a little bit differently, to realize your true potential, and to find your purpose and create a living out of it, because I think that we all have special gifts that the world is waiting for, and we deserve to be abundant. And this is how I recommend you do it. So if you want more information on that, I will put the link in the show notes to my free passive income masterclass, where we talk about creating an app and passive income and how that all works. So I'll link everything up in the show notes. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you back here next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys want more in between these podcast episodes, you can subscribe to my Apple podcast, Manifested It. You can find that in Apple Podcasts, and it has all of my bonus interviews, guided visualizations, subliminals, meditations, all that good stuff. Or you can download the Manifest It Now app, where I put everything, all of my interviews, tools, everything I've used to manifest a life I don't need a vacation from. You can find that wherever you get your apps, in Google Play or the Apple App Store. And you can join the Inner Tribe Manifesting community, which is inside the app as well, if you want to up level with a group of women who are there to support you, cheer you on, give you guidance, and up level your vibe. And if you love this episode, the best thing you can do to support the podcast is share it. Share it with a friend, share it on your Instagram. Make sure to tag me at Law of Attraction Tribe so I can share it back on my story as well. I love connecting with you guys and putting a face to all the listeners out there. So come connect with me over on Instagram and let's start a conversation. Have a great week, and I'll see you back here next time.